thoracic spine rotation PAILs and rails. So for this one, we're going to be rotating around the thoracic, which is sort of the top half of our spine, trying to keep the lumbar spine out of it. So we're going to be getting into obviously a rotation, then doing our PAILs and rails. So there's going to be two ways I'm going to show you to do it. The first way is just a really simple one that most people are going to find familiar, which is just a threading the needle sort of situation. So what we're going to do is going to get on your knees, put one arm out the front of you, and then the other arm is going to just thread, you're going to thread the needle underneath. The reason that we're doing this on our knees is this is going to keep our hips stable and still, which in turn is going to try to keep our lumbar spine. So you're trying to keep that lumbar spine pretty still, so we're just getting as much rotation through the thoracic as you can. And then you're literally going to reach through and then kind of reach through as far as you can, and then just to get a bigger stretch, actively push over and then try to pull this shoulder a little bit more that way. Now, if you've got something on the floor to hold on to, like I do here, then as I rotate, obviously my hand doesn't come back, and then that'll actually pull me into a really big, really nice stretch. So once again, PAILs and rails. So we're going to sit here for 2 minutes. We'll do a PAILs contraction, then a rails contraction. So the PAILs contraction will be the progressive side, so the side that's getting bigger. So that will be this side. So what we'll be effectively doing is trying to, if you've got your hand on the floor, even if it's just pushed into the floor, you're going to be trying to drag your hand back. Obviously that's not going to happen because we're going to be holding on and pushing down through this arm through the floor. So you're effectively going to be trying to rotate that way and trying to use your spine to do so. And then for the rails contraction, you're going to actively try to rotate that shoulder further underneath. Once again, you'll be at the end of your passive range, so there'll be no movement. So anyway, so we're here for 2 minutes. Brace that core, and now start pulling back. So the hand is here. If you've got something to hold on to, great. If not, just push into the floor really hard, trying to pull back, pull back, pull back. Do that for the prescribed amount of time, at the prescribed amount of intensity, of course, and then rotate back the other way. Really trying to focus on using that top half of your spine to actually do the movement. And then rest as long as you need. As it's a spine movement, you'll find that you probably do a little bit less time than you would if you're doing shoulders, hips, knees, things like that. The nervous system can get extremely tired doing this really quickly. So even if you're starting this at sort of 50-60% stuff, you might find the 30 seconds is a bit too much. So even just start with like a 15 to 20 second PAILs and then rails contraction, even if you're only doing it 30, 40, 50%, and then build up over the course of the few weeks that you're doing it to the prescribed amount of time. Because we definitely don't want to overdo the nervous system for the nervous system to then just get a little bit worried and cause issues. So there's that. Now the second way to do this is do it against a wall. I mean, I'd obviously do one without a greenery along it, but for the sake of doing this video, get into a half kneeling position. Now the reason we're in this half kneeling position against the wall is I want my hip and my leg nice and flat against the wall. The same reason here when we were in this kneeling position was to keep our hips from moving. We want to keep our lumbar spine from moving as much as possible. So we can keep our hips there, we keep that out of it and try and get the thoracic going as much as possible. And then what we're going to do is get nice and flush here so this doesn't move. Try to make sure that this hip doesn't come around, the hips stay square, rotate back this way. And then you can, sorry I'm not looking, then you can literally just put your hand on the wall and then push with this hand, put that hand up there, push with that hand to get your passive stretch. Hold this for 2 minutes and then your PAILs contraction will be effectively trying to rotate back this way, but obviously you won't be able to because there's a wall and your body's holding you in place. And then the rails contraction, try to use your spine to actively pull into more rotation. Hold this position for the prescribed amount of time, obviously, then relax and do a couple other sets or a couple other reps. There's 2 setups. I'd probably just start with the one on the bottom and then do that one. Try them both, see which one you can feel the most out of and which one that you find preferable. But anyway, enjoy.